So we have a thing. We can type things in, add them to the form. That's groovy. But before we even do that stuff, how about we real quick make it so that it clears out the form, because that's really annoying that it doesn't do that. Don't you think? Yeah, I really do think. It's like right here. Sorry. Of course I was. Oops. All right. Message form. How do we clear that rascal out after we submit? Before I go too long, is that big enough for everyone? Okay. No? Sure. Good? Okay. So how do we clear that out? What determines what's in the form? Well, like what's actually typed in there is controlled by this .state.body, right? Right? It's always going to be this, which is why we have to do this handle change business. So if we want to clear it out after we submit, what do? Set that back to an empty string. So after add message, this .set state. Body back to empty string. Try it again. Am I even in the right thing here? Yeah, I don't have my server running anymore. Helps to have your server running. Tappity tappity. All right. Totally works now. Clears it out every time. Also, maybe we should autofocus this thing. I don't know. I think when you open up a chat room, it makes sense for that thing to get the focus. So we could also do that real quick. One difference in React, if you want to do autofocus on this input, it is camel cased. Auto focus like that. Capital F focus. Refresh the page and it focuses in there. Type something, submit, and it clears it out. Cool. Autofocus the input and clear the form after submit. Now, new components. Let's just start with the sidebar. So I have my static thing open here. So a couple of clues as to what I was thinking about components. First of all, class names with capital letters. Secondly, I have a CSS file for each component that I was thinking of. So inside the sidebar, I have UserInfo, and it looks like UserInfo was includes an avatar, the username, and the sign out link. So it's basically this horizontal row right here. Okay, let's go into our sidebar. So right now we have that div. So we're just going to take this out and put it in its own component. New component time. User, capital U, info, capital I, .js. I'm pretty sure this can be a stateless functional component. So let's import React from React. Const UserInfo equals arrow function. Before I forget, export default UserInfo. What the crap? And we need to return some JSX. We'll return this JSX, all this UserInfo stuff. I'll just take it out of sidebar, put it in here. And there's some stuff that won't work yet, but I can go ahead and import UserInfo in here. Import UserInfo from /UserInfo and put it right above the H1. And everything's going to explode. Styles is not defined, props is not defined inside UserInfo. So I say props.user.username. So not a thing yet. We need to pass in our props. So it needs the user as a prop. So we'll have to pass that in. So user equals props.user. Right? It's a prop already in sidebar, I think. So pass that in. Okay, now styles is not defined because we had applied styles.children here, which was a rule that we defined in sidebar that says padding 0, 1 rem. So I'm just going to take that out for the moment. We're going to write our own styles here. And okay, now it's back. Let's see if we can make it look like a thing. In our static copy, I have userinfo.css. It has quite a bit in it. So this is the actual outer div. This is the avatar div. This is the user div here. And this is the sign out button. I'm going to go ahead and decide that the sign out button should be a separate component. The avatar is going to be a separate component too, but let's keep this line in mind. So what I'm going to do is put in these 3 rules here. So I'm going to ignore the ones for the link because those are for the sign out button, which I'm going to extract to a separate component. So I'm going to put CSS for these things in here. So const styles. So for the outer thing, I'll call it info. For the user thing, I'll call it user. And for the, I guess the avatar was first. Avatar. There we go. I'll start by just copying these rules in here. I know Jian found a thing that will do this for you, but let's go ahead and put that in avatar. Let's put this rule in user. I'm going to put multiple cursors on the screen by holding down Alt. So I can get rid of my semicolons, put in my backspace, go through and correct all of the multi-word CSS properties to be camel cased. And then quote my values. There we go. So now this div here should have style equals styles.info. This one should have style equals styles.avatar. This one should have style equals styles.user. And before, remember it was getting this padding 0, 1 rem. It's not getting that now because it's no longer in this component. So I'll just add that rule in here too. All right, doesn't change things radically, but it's a little different. Sign out is beside there. Let's go ahead and make avatar a separate component then. Capital A avatar.js. Import React from React. Const avatar equals arrow function. So this homework is in no small part just to get practice creating lots of components so that we get used to how to do that and become comfortable with it. Need to return some JSX. And it'll be this right here. So once again, this style, that's not going to be a thing. We're going to have to style it from the inside. Let's import it. Import avatar from ./avatar. And I'll throw it in here. Avatar. What do you think we're going to need prop-wise in there? It's an avatar for a specific user, so it probably needs to know the user. So let's throw that in there. User equals props.user. So we'll get that as a prop. There was an avatar.css. So here are those rules. I don't know that there's a lot of benefit in watching me type that, so I'm going to paste it in. Height 40 pixels, width 40 pixels, font size 1 rem, border radius 20 pixels. Now looking at the original, oops, this is supposed to say props, not prop. I should see an actual avatar there. If you looked in static.html over here, you see I had a style, an inline style with this background from adorable.io. So, adorable avatars. Avatars.adorable.io. It's pretty cool. Free API. Generates unique avatars for any email address. I mean, they're not guaranteed to be unique, but a wide variety of avatars per email address, and you are guaranteed to get the same avatar back every time for a given email address. So that's a cool way to add avatars quickly without having to make people upload images and so on. So change the address, Dana@fretless.com. There we go. Davey@fretless.com, etc. So you see the URL, it's just api.adorable.io/avatars/the width, which actually in this case we want as small as they'll be, which is 40, / the email address .ping. So that's what we had here. You can actually leave the .ping off apparently. So we want something like that. Problem is, that includes the user's email, and down here, we wouldn't have that because that's a prop inside here, right? Now we could totally put this variable inside the component. There's nothing wrong with that. That would work. But it's more fun and lets us use more of our tricks if we do it this way. What if we do it as an inline style like this? So I need my styles down there, so I will want to say style equals styles, right? But I could actually put an object literal inside there, double curly braces, right? Use the spread operator to get the styles out of styles, and then do the background in line. So that's going to be this, but with the user's email address instead of mine hard-coded in. So well, I better change this to a template literal. Put in $ curly brace, props.user.email. Get it? Now back in app, I don't think we actually had an email on the user, so we'll add one. Email Chris@chris.com. There he is. Kind of sad looking. How about Chris@christ.com? Oh, he's happy. Chris@christ.com. That is.
I signed my name Chris T as a child because there was another kid with the name Chris.
Chris, thatoneguy.com. Oh, yes. What a surprise. Cool. So, totally works. Now, You may remember out here we had this back in the sidebar, or not sidebar, user info, right? User info. We had this rule for avatar margin right. There's no right margin on that. It's smashed up right against there. And I had it here and not inside avatar.css because the idea is only an avatar in the sidebar should have that margin on it. Because we also use the avatars in the individual messages here. And that margin comes from somewhere else. So it'd be nice if we could do it out here. So we're including our avatar component here with JSX. So if I could say style equals styles.avatar, still, that would be really cool. Now that's not just going to automatically apply that to the div. What it is going to do is pass in a prop called style, right? So I could do this to include that too. And now I have my right margin back. You dig? Cool. So what do we do? Add user info and avatar components. Questions about that?